You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Come on, sir.
Break for 30 seconds.
Come on, sir.
Intercom mission.
You are now listening to Baad Radio.
Hello and welcome as we launch into the second hour of Baad Radio. Baad stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. And we are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. So we have a new guest. It is Brian Foshee. Mm-hmm. Did I say it right?
You got it.
I did, with Happie Entertainment. So yay. So our first half of the show, we talked all about like homeowners insurance and contractors and got real frustrated. So now you're here and we can for the second hour, we can just talk about happy stuff. So first and foremost, let's just talk about what your business is.
Sure. So
and make sure you got to talk right into that microphone.
Gotcha.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I've got a few different things that I do.
Okay.
I've been a full-time professional magician since 1998 and started doing foam parties for kids a couple years ago. So like bubble foam dance
So fun.
parties. Yes, they are a blast. That's why I started doing them. And the magic has grown. I've done my magic show that I do for kids for over 5,000 times. I've done that, like I said, since 1998. But then a couple years ago, I got the idea to do a magic and murder mystery related show. And so started writing that. Took a year to write that show. And
wow. Is it like writing a script?
It is.
Like a stage script, or what is it? What do they? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, or like a book, or it was really pretty difficult, much more difficult than I anticipated it being.
A screenplay. That was what the word I was looking for. It's like writing a screenplay.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay.
Although I've never written a screenplay, so I'm guessing. But yeah, it feels like that. Yeah. And then also turned that into a team building experience for corporate America as well.
Very cool, because you know what? I've grown up, but like I've had my share of corporate America, and I've done everything from bowling to what are those escape rooms to what is the other one where you like have to go along the lines and or what?
Driving?
No, not driving.
I don't know what you're getting at. Go along the lines.
When you get hooked up to the line and you like
zip lining.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm having a hard time with the words today.
That's more of a scream building experience than a team building experience.
But growing up though, were you like that kid that was always like, here, watch what I can do this, and you're like, I remember my grandpa doing the thumb one where and it would freak me out. I was like, his thumb isn't attached to his finger.
Yeah, definitely. When I was 12 or 13 is when I really got into magic. A magic shop had opened up near my house, and a buddy of mine was like, oh, you've got to go in there. You've got to go in. I had no interest, and finally he convinced me to go in, and I just never left. It was my new home. I ended up working at that magic shop, and then I ended up managing that magic shop.
Really?
Yeah. And in high school, and then in college, I opened my own magic shop, and so...
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, see, I love magic, but I'm one of those people that I don't want to know how. You know how there's you have different kinds of people.
Oh yeah.
And there's the people that are like, I got to figure it out. I got to figure this out. You know what I mean? But I don't want to figure it out. I love the illusion.
Yeah.
One time, like years and years ago, before it became like super popular, was the quick change thing, which in my mind is magic.
Yes.
And it was before it had been on whatever America's Most Talented or whatever.
Yeah.
And what we hired them to be entertainment for a corporate get together thing. And when I saw what they could do, and I was so baffled. I'm like, what does she have on? Like 35 outfits underneath that one? But you can't because it's not all bulky.
Right.
So I love magic, and I love not knowing how it works. But how hard is it to learn?
It's not. It's actually not hard to learn at all. There are some really amazing tricks that I can teach people that after I show it to them and then have them do it back for me, maybe they want to practice it 5 to 10 times, and that's just really to get the wording down. That's the hardest part of magic, is not necessarily the moves and everything, when you're starting. It's knowing what to say and when to say it is the biggest part.
Really?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Is there any particular, like, how many different categories of magic? Like, I think of like card tricks
Sure.
and things like
Close-up
that.
magic.
Yeah, is that what it's
And
called? That's called
yeah,
close-up. Okay.
That's close-up or strolling magic. And then there's cabaret, which is kind of in between close-up and stage. So that might be like a small audience. And then, of course, there's stage magic. And a big part of stage magic is illusions.
Okay.
So, yeah, some magicians will say, I'm an illusionist. And when they say that, that typically means don't ask me to do a card trick. I have no idea how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I am a true sleight of hand magician. That's like what's closest to my heart. I enjoy doing that. If I'm doing a trick with cards, it's a deck of cards I could have borrowed from somebody, or oftentimes I do borrow it. Nothing special. And if I'm doing a coin trick, it's all real coins that I could have taken out of the.
It's not a special, like, double-headed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, okay.
Yeah. It's none of that. So it's all just regular stuff, and I'm manipulating it to do magic with it. And I love doing that. That is more difficult than where you start with, like, easy, like, self-working magic is what they call it. Like, if you're doing a card trick that just works and you just have to do the motions.
Okay.
Yeah, so that'd be self-working. But there's a lot of really good tricks like that.
Right. Okay, so you owned your own shop.
Yep.
And then, was that here in Florida?
Nope. I grew up in Pennsylvania, in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, outside of Pittsburgh. And after graduating from high school, I went to Penn State. And so while I was at Penn State, first 2 years in Altoona and then last 2 years at main campus, I did some performing, a lot of just being able as a freshman to go into frat parties. And they were like, part the seas, here comes the magician.
No way.
Oh, yeah, it was
great.
awesome. Yeah, you have a bunch of people standing in line waiting to get into a house party, and I'm just walking past everybody
Oh, you're
as
the
a
man.
freshman.
Right. That's awesome. Well,
It was great.
you found your in. That's
I did.
awesome.
Yeah, that definitely made me fall in love with magic. But when I graduated from college,
What did you get a degree in?
marketing,
Okay.
thank goodness. Although I got my degree in marketing right as the internet was just coming out, not to age myself at all, but
I graduated in December of 95
okay.
from college. So I
I'm
got
not,
you.
Not that far off, 97. So, yeah. So, and then a degree in marketing when the internet just came out, it's like everything changed the next day. So, but I worked for a company for a day short of a year in New Jersey. They hired me and I moved out there, and it was actually a magic company.
Oh,
so
okay.
that's why I took the job. I mean, they could have told me I had to pay them to work there, and I probably would have still taken the job.
Right.
Yeah. And it turned out to not be a real big fit for me. I quit after 1 year and started performing full time and never looked back. That was
Right.
1998.
Oh, I love that. But the thing is like you have to book gigs. So we're talking entertainment.
Yep.
And so entertainment can be difficult because you have to get the work. You have to do your own marketing unless you like hire a pub or a producer or somebody
Sure.
like that that's going to go out and market you. But I'm sure they cost so much money. So
Yeah.
that's, so
A
now.
publicist and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to establish yourself. You have to get all of your business workings in order, and then that's when you start booking stuff. So did you start that up north as well, or did you
Yes.
come down here to do that?
No, I didn't move here till 2011. So 1998, I went through the phone book, for those of you that remember what those are, and called everybody that I thought could potentially have jobs for me, every bounce house company, every entertainment company, and told them who I was and that I liked doing close-up magic. And they all said the same thing. They said, do you do a kids show? And the first 3 calls I said, no. And then the 4th call I said, yes, because I knew it was the only way I was going to get any work.
Right.
I had better figure it out. So I figured out a kids show, and that's what was super popular
Right.
in northern New Jersey.
That music means that we're going to break, but I want to pick up at that spot. So everybody stay tuned because we have more Bad Radio coming up. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. with daily specials, amazing kids menu, and all sports all day long. You don't want to miss any of it. So, and they've got 4 great locations. They've got Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. So you got Fraggers, hopping with food and fun.
Yeah, boy.
That's right. And we're here with Brian with Be Happie Entertainment. And so we started talking about, we talked a little bit about, being up north. And then, so you were like, I have to figure out a kid's show because that is where it's at. So,
Yeah, that was
but
what I needed to do.
Like, okay, so kids magic, adult magic, is it because there's like some that's like, is it like, I don't want to say dirty magic, but I meant, is it like dirty jokes, or that kind of thing?
Just that even though as adults we are really just kind of like, kids pretending like we know what we're doing.
Right.
The sense of humor is totally different.
Okay.
Yeah. My kids' magic show, I am jumping around and using what children's entertainers call look, don't see, which is like I'll pull a red handkerchief out and I go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my magic blue handkerchief and put it down. And the kids are going, it's red, it's red.
Right.
So you pretend like you don't know. And so the show is packed with that. And the magic is almost just as a convenience. Like I have them laughing and coming up and volunteering. And I've got music throughout the show and stuff too. But the magic will, surprise them. And then the handkerchief changes colors, but it's all really about the connection with them and the comedy, aspect of it. And that's where the fun is. I think magic is more of like a canvas. It's your excuse to be on stage. Mm-hmm. Now, you can be a boring magician. There's tons of them out there.
I've seen my share.
Yes. So it's so important to take that and paint it, make something out of it. And so the comedy, or in the Magic Murder Mystery case, the story behind it, the murder mystery behind the magic show, is really what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about the murder mystery, but the one thing that I always noticed when I watch magic show is and this is the part that I never knew if this was authentic or it's the bumbling kind of, I can't find, what did I do with this? Or where is this at? You know what I mean? I'm like, is that part of the show? Or is this guy really losing his stuff because it's over here? Or should I tell? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's part of the show, isn't it?
It is part of the show.
Okay.
And if you're having that feeling while you're watching and you're confused, then they're not doing it very well, unfortunately. But yeah, there are parts of the show where you show a card and, you go, there it is, your card, the 7 of hearts. And they're going, no. And sometimes people are really nice, and they're like, yeah, that's... And I'm like, come on, be honest.
Right.
Yeah.
You're like, you're not supposed to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'm like. I can't tell if they're really confused right now or if they're supposed to be confused.
Yeah, supposed to be at that point. Yeah, so that we can surprise you with an alternate ending to the trick, something better than what you thought was going to happen.
So what is your favorite out of all the things? I mean, let's still talk about magic.
Yeah,
So what is your favorite thing to do as an entertainer? Like the kids, the adults, or?
Oh, I always wanted to do a stand-up show specifically for adults all through my career. Mm-hmm. And so it wasn't until recently that I came up with the Magic Murder Mystery that I started doing that. And I am finding that is my new favorite thing to do.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about it because, okay, so that sort of thing, like the murder mystery kind of thing became, I remember, when I was younger, it was a thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then it sort of died out. And now it's come back. And it's almost like the younger generation likes to be challenged, or not, I don't say challenged, but you know what I mean? They like to try to figure things out.
Sure.
Where, the Gen Xers, we were kind of like, let's just go drink at the bar.
Right.
So, but yeah, so it's entertaining. But like I said, what do you do?
Sure. So a funny, quick little story. When I came up with the Magic Murder Mystery was because a friend of mine who's also a magician, who was supposed to do a job with me on Saturday at this particular point. Friday, he calls me and he says, my wife and I just got back from a cruise, but we're stuck on the cruise ship because there was somebody thrown overboard
Oh my
during the
gosh.
cruise. And this is all legit. Like this
Right.
happened. And the police are going through room by room, interviewing everybody on the cruise ship. Nobody's allowed to leave until they finish.
Uh-huh.
Some people that hear this may remember this from the news and stuff from a few years ago. It was, in Florida. And they wouldn't let them go. And so my friend was calling me saying, hey, I might not make it to the show tomorrow. I don't know how long this is going to take. So luckily he made it, but I thought of the magician stuck in a murder mystery, and I was like, what a great combo that would be. And so that's where I came up with the show.
Uh-huh.
And what was your original question about
I don't know.
it?
What was your favorite thing to do?
Yeah. So it took so long to write because of the murder mystery part. The magic was easy, but what I wanted to do was I wanted to be the one that was murdered.
Mm-hmm.
And so I come out.
How can you host it if you're dead?
Right. Well, how could you host it if you were dead, right? So I come back as my own ghost.
Okay.
Change of costume. I've got smoke pouring out of my hat.
Nice.
And I come back as my own ghost to host the murder mystery. And the audience gets to play different roles in the show. So there's actually 11 available different spots as actors in the show, and it's all played by people in the audience.
So it is a volunteer, and then you pull a number or something like that, and that's the character you are.
Well, no, they get, as they come into the theater, or the conference room or whatever it may be, they get the choice if they want to be part of the show or just go and sit and watch.
Observe.
Yeah, and so those that are willing to be daring enough and become part of the show really only have to read about a paragraph. But they come up in front of the audience before the show starts and explain why they have a vendetta against me, the magician that's about to come out and
that's
perform.
whatever they're reading off their card
Yeah,
there.
and there's costume pieces that they can wear if they want to.
Oh my God, so fun.
Yeah, it's a blast. Yeah.
How did you make the costumes?
Good old Amazon. Where everything comes from, it's the new North Pole.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. You just can order just about anything. So does the murder mystery have different locations based off of who you're performing it to? Because there's the cruise ship, then there's the train, then there's all these different scenarios. Or is it usually pretty one area?
Yeah, in my Magic Murder Mystery, The Experience, it's always the theater. So the people coming to watch the show are coming to watch the biggest magician in the world at the time. So it would be David Copperfield, David Blaine type of person, right? So that's the setup. And one of the characters is even a rival magician, Merlini, who comes out and says how he's done so much better than me, and looks at the audience and says, I perform for much more attractive audiences, even in what he reads.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun. But yeah, the theater is the setting. Even if we're in a conference room, I tell people at the beginning, this is the theater. I am playing the role of the greatest magician, and so that's why you've come to see me. And on my way to the top, I've stepped on a lot of toes, and so you're going to hear from those people.
Very, very cool. And how big is the audience usually?
So I really need to have either at least 25 people or 15 people that are really willing to participate.
Right.
Below that, it's too difficult. Nobody will participate if there's not enough people. And so I've found that out, that if there's 11 people, you are not going to get all 11, characters out there. So I like to have 25 people or more.
Yeah. And is that the team building, the murder mystery, or is the team building do you have something else that's for that?
Sure. So it's based on that show.
Okay.
It's 3 to 4 hours. Depends on how many people. Yep.
Okay.
And when they first come in, there's icebreakers. So as an example, everybody gets a playing card they wear on their back. And no one is allowed to tell anyone else what the playing card is. And they have to form the best poker hand they can without talking. And that becomes their team of 5. And there's prizes for the better one and stuff.
Oh, man. All right. That sounds awesome. But we're going to go to break. And so when we get back, we'll have more Baad Radio. So stay tuned. Well, welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. libertypropertyinspections.net, helping you protect your investment. All right, so we've been talking with Brian, and the name of his company is Be Happie Entertainment. And so we've been talking about magic primarily, right?
Yes.
So what I was wondering, because like everybody has a trait, like, well, not everybody has a trait, but you know what I mean. And yours is magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that in itself is unique. So I mean, you can walk down the street and you're like, okay, that person's an insurance agent. That person's you know what I mean? But it's not like you could come across a whole bunch of magicians. So
Right.
being a magician, I mean, what are some of the weirdest situations that you've ever been in that you were like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Sure. I've got two that I can think of. One, getting out of a sticky situation using magic.
Is that the joke? The sticky situation?
Oh, yeah, no.
Okay.
This is like legit. Like, got myself out of a sticky situation. And another one that just pulled on my heartstrings. So the heartstrings, I did a few years in a row. I did an event that was called Runway to Hope. And I think it's still going on.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So I was one of the magicians there, and I was walking around doing magic for the kids. And it's all kids with cancer. Yeah. And so it's already a tough event, like, to be at. And but I walked up to a lady pushing a stroller with a kid in the stroller who looked to be 8 or 9 years old or so, and I said, hey, I said, do you want to see some magic? And he said, oh, he's like, got real excited. He's like, I love magic. And yeah. And the mom looks at me and she kind of mouths to me, he's blind. And I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be interesting. Like, how do you do magic for someone who's blind?
Right.
And so I said, well, I've got something better for you. What if I teach you how to do a magic trick? And so he was very excited about that.
Wow.
So,
okay. So that's thinking on your feet for sure.
yeah, I positioned his hands and showed him, put a coin in his hand and told him where the coin was in his hand and told him exactly how to do the moves to make that coin disappear. And then walked him through it. We spent about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes together or so as I talked him through it. And the coins that I like to use in my magic show are 1964 Franklin half dollars. They're solid silver, so they just look neat. So that's why I like to use them. But I was like, here, take this. This is yours. Practice the trick,
Aww.
And then as I was making my rounds the next year at the event, I was very nervous to see if he was there or not. He was there the next year still. So it was nice to see him again, and I had to teach him the trick again, but he was very excited to find me.
You're like, hey, where's that coin I gave you last year?
Yeah, I know. I'm not getting another coin, kid.
Well, so that's really cool that you donate your time for stuff like that. And it is hard, but I mean, you got to think about the smiles and
right.
And like I am just such a sucker for that sort of thing. So
Yeah.
if I was a magician, I would probably go broke because I would be performing like for all sorts of nonprofit things. So
I did a show not too long ago for the Homeless Association and in Orlando, and that was great too. So I do love doing that. But as a magician, you also get calls for volunteer shows like every day. So I kind of set it up at the beginning of the year. Okay, these are the ones I'm going to do. And then I tell everybody else, find a sponsor, or I can help you find a sponsor. And that way I can still get paid to do the show.
Yeah, because I mean, you got to pay bills too.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I get it. So they can find a sponsor to sponsor you.
Yeah,
and so this, Be Happie Entertainment is brought to you by.
Exactly, and I can mention that in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a brilliant way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to do something to help the organizations, and so I'll try to help them find a sponsor. But when I'm the one always calling for sponsors, you run out of people to call eventually.
Well, I mean, as a nonprofit, lots of times they understand the whole thing, and lots of times they have a book of people or clients that they can call on that they know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's having something legit to bring in there to sponsor, because that's the thing. Like, I used to work in this building, and I sold sponsors to everything, including like the kitchen sink. You know what I mean? It was like, if it had some sort of like star power to it,
right.
It was sponsored. Trust me.
You're pulling out the toilet paper, sitting and going, why does it say modern plumbing all over this toilet paper? I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you a quick story real quick, though, is I sold a sponsorship to the Porta Potties at a rock concert at Earth Day Birthday.
I was joking. You're serious.
No, I'm totally serious. It was to Dan's Family Restaurant, and I sold, and they paid like $3,000, and we made flyers when we put them on the Porta Potties, the back door, and it said, pull off this little thing for 10% off or whatever. And I did some graphic of some guy like going like that because everybody's hungover after that. And so it's like, what a better way. And that next day, Dan's Family Restaurant had so much business that like I said, it was a tremendously successful. But yes, I have sold a sponsorship
to the Porta Potties,
to the toilets.
Best seat in the house. That's awesome. Yeah, the sticky situation, I took 3 weeks and went on vacation with a friend of mine to the Philippines. Nice. And we would go back in the back alleys and stuff and do magic for the families back there that have, rarely even seen anyone from outside of their neighborhood,
That sounds kind of dangerous, though.
It was a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, it's worth it, Like I've got great photos of like a huge audience of people watching us doing magic, and it was, it was a treat for them, and so that was great.
That's really special.
But I did find myself at one point walking back to my hotel by myself in the dark, and as I'm walking, a group of about 4 people kind of stepped out in front of me, and they were like, "Hey, how are you doing? Where are you from?" And when you can just kind of your spidey senses kind of go off.
Yeah, you get that chill. Yeah,
hair on the back of your neck goes up. And am I going to be like, "Hey, I'm fine," and try to push my way through? Because they were blocking my path, and they could have just been conversating. I don't know.
The likelihood of that is very, very small.
It didn't feel good. Yeah.
Right.
So I was my friendly self, and I was like, "Hey, how are you guys doing? Awesome. Like, you guys want to see something cool?" And so they're like, "Yeah." I mean, who says no to that, right? So I pulled out my deck of cards, did a couple of tricks for them. I think I did 3 different tricks for them and had them like laughing and loving it. And by the time I was like, "All right, see you later," they were like, "Thank you, thank you."
Oh, my God. You never know. This deck of cards might have saved your life.
It very well may have, yeah. I called my friend right away, and I'm like, "You need to direct me back to the hotel. I don't know where I am. I just..."
Oh my gosh.
They sent a security guy from the hotel to walk out to the path that I was walking on.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get hurt.
I'm kind of glad about that too.
Yes, you probably didn't go that way again, I would suspect. But I'm really glad that like I said, you didn't get hurt and you got back to where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
But when I asked you that question, I really didn't think about the fact that magic could have possibly have saved your life at one point in time.
Yes.
But do you find yourself doing that often?
Saving my life with magic? No.
No, I mean like being in a group, like a social group, and you end up with a crowd around you because it just comes naturally that you want to do this trick or that trick. Or,
yeah. Inevitably, somebody will be like, "Hey, do a trick." And, my brother jokingly says all the time, "Dance, monkey." It's like, it's time to dance. So, I'm like, I love to do that. I mean, it's the same as somebody handing a business card or saying, "Hey, here's a free sample of our chocolates that we make," or something.
True.
How is anybody going to know, that I'm a good magician unless I do a trick for them?
No, that's very valid.
Yeah. So I love doing that. And then it always turns into, "You've got to show that to so-and-so." Mm-hmm. And then they're taking me over to another group. And once you've done magic enough, you know who wants to see it and who doesn't want to see it. And inevitably, when they're like, "You've got to show that to my Uncle Fred," or whatever, and you're walking over towards Uncle Fred and you're like, "This guy's deep in conversation. He does not want to see him." Yeah.
Right.
So that is kind of awkward sometimes. And that's a trick with strolling magic, is knowing who to approach and who not to.
Being able to read that person.
Yeah. Read the situation. Are they sitting there and they're, hand in hand, eye to eye, having a deep conversation? You don't want to walk up and go, "Oh,"
interrupt them. That's no. That's really good. You got to have a good sense of your surroundings. Then, I can't believe it, but we're going to break again. So I know it does go fast. All right, everybody, stay tuned. We have more Baad Radio coming up. Welcome back. I'd like to give a huge thank you to our sponsors, Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. Get Me Automated. Ashley and her team are ready to make your life easier through automation. And last but not least, Osteopathic Health of Orlando. I just posted Dr. Sean's video, his YouTube video. So if you missed that show, you got to go check it out. So we're here with Brian, and the name of his company is Be Happie Entertainment, and we've had a great time. And the problem is like when you're having a great time, the show goes by too fast.
Yes.
And so the whole purpose of the show is local businesses and business networking. So what I like to do is I like to get businesses' names out there and get them a chance to talk about what they're passionate about, which is their business. So that's my guilty pleasure. I like to listen to people tell stories, and I love asking them. Like, it's so funny, like the guy that was in here before you, he has his own show, and so today I finally got to be the one asking him questions. So, so let's talk about Be Happie Entertainment. So tell us again the different sections.
Sure. So Be Happie Entertainment really is my kids' shows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, like I've said, I've done 5,000 times. It's
And then, so are we talking about birthday parties?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Birthday parties. I did a New Year's Eve event at a hotel in Orlando. So special events at hotels, or bring your kids a work day or a birthday party. Anytime that they have a group of kids that are going to be getting together, you need to have something.
Right. Oh, yeah. Is there
them...
a certain age group?
That show is primarily good for up to about 11, 12 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they're too cool for
They're a little too cool for school. The strolling magic is good after that. I've done like project graduations and stuff like that with strolling magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So, and about how long are those shows usually?
That's a 45-minute show.
Okay, because their attention span is not that great at that age.
Yeah, I have had, and I'm sure there's people listening right now who are like, oh, my 4-year-old will never sit for 45 minutes. And I guarantee they absolutely will.
You hear that, people? 45 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, of complete silence if you walk far enough away. Yeah. So, but they do. And parents come up to me all the time and they're like, I can't believe my child sat for 45 minutes. They've never sat for that long, and they were like totally into it.
And what kind of not auditorium, but what kind of a setting do you need? A backyard, a room?
I'm pretty easy with that. I did my show in hallways before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Living in New Jersey, I was performing in New York City a lot. So a lot of times there was like, no room. But a backyard when it's off season is fine. Summertime, unless you want to see the murder mystery, don't put me in the backyard, please.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Like indoors is great, but a living room is going to be fine.
Okay.
School's a lot too. I had a teacher come up to me and say, this is the first time we've ever had an assembly that no one asked to go to the bathroom. That was like the best compliment I've ever gotten.
Right?
Yeah.
Assemblies are big too.
Yeah.
What's the biggest audience you've been in front of?
Probably 400 plus.
Okay, that's a good amount of people right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to
the
keep
more,
them
the
all
merrier.
quiet?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
I don't keep them quiet. They're having a good time interacting with me, but I do keep them from making it ridiculous, like they're not over the top screaming and stuff, but they can clap as loud as they want.
Right. Have you ever had to deal with a heckler?
Oh, of course.
What do you do with those?
I can't say that live on the air.
Yeah. Well, when we wrap it up, I want to know what you do with the hecklers, because I know what I would do with the hecklers.
Yeah, no, there's always easy ways. When it's kids, it's get them up. Don't tell your children I said this, because they'll all heckle to get up in front of the audience. But I also prevent it by saying, like, whoever does this the best might get a chance to come up and help in the show when I tell them to clap as loud as possible and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's actually really brilliant.
The kids are easy to handle. It's the adults that can be tough.
I can only, especially after you add alcohol to the situation.
Yes,
so
indeed.
you know that old saying, instant a-hole, just add alcohol. So you've got the kids parties, and that's the Be Happie Entertainment. Now, the phone party is also for kids, or is it for adults?
It's both.
Okay.
Primarily, we do kids parties, but I have done events for, again, project graduations and colleges and like a sorority party.
Your website for your phone parties is just wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Because I opened it up and I saw the phone party. I like it, like the foam, the kids in slow motion, and I showed it because my husband is a graphic designer and he does websites and stuff. I'm like, look how good this is. I was like, look how much fun this is.
Yeah.
And it's not crazy expensive.
No, it's not. The foam parties are really difficultly inexpensive. Like it drives me crazy because, like I look at it and I'm like, this is $700 worth of entertainment easy. And we're out there doing private parties for $350.
Right. Is there a lot of people that do it?
There's not a lot of people that do it, really. There's a few different companies out there that do it, but
that's not bad at all.
Yeah, no, for a birthday party, and you will not find better entertainment than that. The kids go nuts, and there's no cleanup afterwards. That's the one thing that the parents worry about the most. They're like, "What are we going to do?" I'm like, "Well, you're going to wait 5 minutes, and the bubbles are going to pop."
So you definitely need outdoors for that.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, if you want to remain living in your home, outdoors is the way to go with the foam party.
Right.
Yeah.
And so do you see, that's something that you can do out in the heat, though, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Is there
no
water
problem.
involved?
Yes,
Okay.
It's mostly water, actually. The bubbles just comes from SLS, which is sodium lauryl sulfate.
Mm-hmm.
It's in toothpaste. It's in tear-free shampoo. It's in laundry detergent
Right.
and hypoallergenic laundry detergent. So it's totally hypoallergenic and really benign. So it's a great thing to use. And it's a very small portion of it. Like people ask me all the time, they're looking at this mountain of foam, and I'm like, it's water and air and
Right.
a little bit of SLS.
So do you have like cannons and you just shoot
Yep.
oh, that's fantastic.
Yep, we've got 3 setups, so we can be at 3 places at one time. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Okay, so love it. Okay, so then you have the murder mystery,
Yes.
and that is kind of like corporate team building as well.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So the murder mystery, any company that wants to have just something fun for their employees and at the same time is going to build, great morale.
Mm-hmm.
When they see the person walking down the hallway that was one of the actors, they know them, they
Right.
can joke with them. And then all the other team building things that we do in that team building experience. And then just the show itself, the Magic Murder Mystery Show, is a ton of fun. For any like a women's group that wants to bring me in, or a company, or private party that
What
they're
about like hotels and
absolutely.
stuff?
Yeah,
So,
for
'cause,
hotels.
I've stayed at hotels where they're like, hey, there's a comedian on at this time.
Yes.
So you do that kind of thing as well?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for the resorts and everything. Absolutely. The foam parties as well for the resorts.
Really?
We
Okay.
have a couple that we've done. And I haven't gotten a contract from the one for this summer for Saturday nights yet, but the guy really wants to have us back. Last year I had somebody come up and he said, my kids, we've spent a week at Disney and Universal, and they said that this is the most fun that they had.
Oh, that's that pocketbook talking right there too. If you think about it.
Yeah.
So mom and dad can go like do the massage thing, and the kids can go do the foam party thing for a little bit. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So everything I do, I love what I do. I love my life. I have a good time.
Oh, you know what? Just hearing that is so great, especially because, like I said, you bring happiness to people, and not a lot of people can say that about their job. Is that their job is to make people happy?
Yeah.
So I think Be Happie Entertainment is a perfect name for you. So what we're going to do right now is we have about a minute left. So what I wanted you to do is go through all of your websites and
Okay.
how to get in touch with you, and you can, like I said, you got a minute, so you
Okay.
don't have to rush.
Okay, so my cell phone is the easiest way, which I lived in New Jersey for a long time. I still have the same number.
No worries.
732-239-4545
Go ahead and say
is
it
my
again.
cell phone.
Say it
732-239-4545.
Okay.
And my websites for Magic Murder Mystery, it's mmmexperience.com. So
Okay.
MMM as in Magic Murder Mystery, experience.com. Foam Happy is Foam Happy. So that's a tough one. FOAMHAPPY.com.
Okay.
Now here's the fun one. Be Happy. When I got that website, the internet was just coming out, and I went with Brian as my first name, B period. So the website ended up being the letter B, HAPPIE.com.
Oh, we're going to go though. All right. So that's Be Happie
Yes.
Entertainment. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We'll definitely have you back again. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Have a great week. And remember to support local.